Is it safe to travel to Dublin? There's a moment when you first arrive in Dublin that feels like stepping into a storybook. Maybe it's the melodic rhythm of the Irish accent that greets you at the airport. Maybe it's the city's signature mix of Georgian brickwork and literary history. Or maybe it's just the way the light falls on the River Liffey, turning an ordinary morning into something memorable. But almost as soon as that wonder sets in, a familiar question pops up in the back of your mind, especially if you're a cautious traveler. Is it safe to travel to Dublin in 2025? Stick around until the end of this video, because I'll share a surprising and timely fact about Dublin's place in the global safety rankings and what that might mean for your next trip. Let's begin with this truth. Dublin is a charming, culturally rich capital city with a deep love of storytelling, music, and hospitality. But like all cities, it's not immune to the pressures of urban life. In recent years, travelers and locals alike have raised questions about rising petty crime, occasional public disorder, and how safe the city really feels after dark. And while Dublin remains a generally safe destination for international visitors, there are a few areas worth exploring in greater detail if you're planning a visit. For many travelers, the first experience of Dublin is delightfully warm. Locals will strike up a conversation with you at the bus stop. Strangers may offer directions before you even ask, and it's not uncommon for bartenders to recommend their favorite non-touristy spots for dinner. Dubliners are famously friendly, but being friendly doesn't mean the city is free from crime or concerns. Over the past few years, Dublin has seen a modest but noticeable uptick in certain types of street-level crime. The most common safety issue affecting tourists is petty theft. Things like pickpocketing, bag snatching, and mobile phone grabs, especially in crowded areas like Grafton Street, Temple Bar, and the busy bus and tram stops around O'Connell Street. This isn't unique to Dublin. London, Paris, and Rome all face the same challenge, but it's something to be aware of. There's also been an increase in what authorities refer to as anti-social behavior. That includes things like public intoxication, aggressive panhandling, and late-night confrontations outside pubs and nightclubs. These incidents are typically isolated and rarely escalate into serious violence, but they can leave visitors feeling uneasy, especially if they're unfamiliar with the area. Some travelers have reported feeling uncomfortable around groups of youths congregating in parks or transport hubs, particularly after dark. Again, while most of these groups are harmless, the sense of unpredictability, combined with alcohol or occasional drug use, can heighten the perception of risk. Now, let's step back and look at what the world's major governments are saying about travel to Dublin and Ireland in general. The United States Department of State currently places Ireland at a Level 1 advisory, meaning travelers are advised to exercise normal precautions. This is the lowest risk level in their system and indicates that the country is widely regarded as safe for international travelers. The advisory highlights petty crime as the primary concern, particularly theft of unattended items and pickpocketing in crowded urban settings. Global Affairs Canada echoes this guidance, noting that Ireland is a stable and secure destination, but that travelers should be alert to the potential for petty crime, especially in tourist areas and on public transportation. They also advise Canadian travelers to take common-sense precautions at night and to secure their valuables when in shared accommodations or rental vehicles. The UK's Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office offers similar commentary. While the UK and Ireland share a unique relationship, particularly with regard to freedom of movement, they still remind British nationals to be aware of minor street crime in urban areas, including Dublin. The advisory notes that while violent crime is rare, there have been occasional incidents of assaults involving tourists, typically connected to alcohol-fueled disputes in nightlife districts. From the Southern Hemisphere, the Australian Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade encourages Australians to exercise normal safety awareness in Ireland. Again, the concerns mirror those of other countries. Be cautious at night, watch out for pickpockets, and stay informed about any local demonstrations or large events that might affect travel logistics. So, across the board, the international consensus is clear. Ireland, and Dublin in particular, is a safe destination by global standards, with risks that are largely manageable for the informed traveler. But what does that look like on the ground? Dublin's city centre is lively, compact, and extremely walkable. That's one of its great advantages. You can explore much of the city on foot, hopping from the National Museum to Trinity College to St. Stephen's Green in a single afternoon. But with walkability comes exposure, and it's important to keep your belongings close in busy areas, especially on buses, trams, and pedestrian streets. A crossbody bag, zipped and worn in front, is a simple but effective choice for both men and women. Temple Bar is one of the most famous and divisive neighborhoods in Dublin. By day, it's a hub of cobbled streets and live music, drawing crowds for its pubs and souvenir shops. But by night, especially late on weekends, it can take on a different tone. It's still mostly safe, but the combination of large crowds, alcohol, and loud behavior can feel chaotic. If you're traveling solo or prefer a more relaxed evening out, you might opt for the pubs in areas like Ranelagh, Smithfield, or Portobello, which still offer great nightlife without the same intensity. One unique aspect of safety in Dublin that deserves mention is its approach to policing. The Gardaí, Ireland's national police service, are generally visible in the city centre, often unarmed, and known for their community-focused approach. Their presence can be reassuring, especially during large public gatherings or events. While they may not have the heavy-handed presence seen in some larger capitals, their familiarity with the local population often plays to their advantage in diffusing tension before it escalates. Transportation-wise, Dublin's buses and trams are generally safe, though often crowded. Late at night, certain routes can become rowdy, particularly on weekends. Taxis and ride-sharing services are widely available, but as in any city, confirm your driver's identity and avoid unmarked vehicles. If you're staying outside the core and returning late, consider budgeting for a cab or using a reliable rideshare app rather than relying on public transport alone. Dublin also has a growing cycling culture, with bike rental stations throughout the city. If you plan to cycle, be aware that traffic can be aggressive during peak hours, and that cycling infrastructure is still developing. Helmets aren't mandatory, but are strongly recommended. In recent years, concerns have been raised about social inequality and homelessness in parts of the city. While this is not unique to Dublin, it can be jarring for some visitors. Most people experiencing homelessness pose no threat, but a small number of individuals may become confrontational, usually in relation to substance use or mental health challenges. The city has expanded its outreach services, but it remains a visible issue, particularly near major transport hubs. Despite these challenges, Dublin's spirit remains unmistakably warm and welcoming. There's a sense of humor and generosity that runs through its people. Ask for directions and you'll get a story. Mention a hometown and someone will know someone who lives there. It's not a city that shuts its doors, it opens them, often with a pint and a laugh. So, is Dublin safe to visit? The answer overwhelmingly is yes, with the caveat that travelers should approach the city with the same situational awareness they would in any busy capital. Be aware of your surroundings, especially at night. Keep your belongings secure. Avoid confrontations. Steer clear of street altercations. And when in doubt, trust your instincts. And now, as promised, here's the surprise. In a recent global survey by a European travel safety research group, Dublin ranked among the top 10 safest capital cities in Europe for solo female travelers, particularly those aged 25 to 45. That finding surprised many, especially given some of the noise in the media about rising antisocial behavior. But the data tells a broader story of a city that, while imperfect, is still one of the most accessible, English-speaking, culturally rich, and safe places you can visit in Europe. That, to me, is the story of Dublin. It has its rough edges, yes, but it's also full of music, warmth, resilience, and a deep respect for hospitality. The kind of place where the bartender remembers your name, the bookstore owner recommends a poem, and the history isn't just in museums, it's in the people. I'm Stephen with the Travel Safety Network. After more than 27 years of helping travelers stay safe around the world, I believe that preparation is power. Travel isn't about fear, it's about awareness, and when you know what to look out for, cities like Dublin become not only safe, but deeply rewarding. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment about your own experience in Dublin, or the questions you have before you go. And as always, stay smart, stay safe, and keep exploring. There's a world waiting, and Dublin might just be your next favorite chapter.